yesterday's news.
Hello, welcome to Old News, the programme and podcast which looks at news stories of the day through the papers of yesterday. Well, clowns seem to have been in the headlines quite a lot of late. I'll just leave it there. They have, haven't they? You'll have seen it, no doubt, and formed your own opinion on that one. So, clowns it is. Let's take a look and see how many clowns have featured in the papers over the years. Well, actually, more than you might think. Not necessarily for the same reasons. Quite a lot of, well, real clowns. Although, if we go back to the Isle of Man Weekly Advertising Circular of Thursday, September the 6th, 1860, clown comes up in a long-winded advert in the form of a poem, it seems. You don't think you get this now. Douglas Going Ahead, it's entitled. Douglas Town is of great renown, acknowledged alike by the seer and the clown. Its history very remote can be shown, courting research with a smile, not a frown. Douglas Town is become of great note for trade and commerce and things of that sort, but the Wellington market outstrips them all, as its stores are suited for rich and all. Now, if it was an advert for Wellington Market, you might think it would stop there. But no, it goes on. Douglas Town is progressing apace. 'Twould seem as all were running a race, to vie with each other as what best can be done for all who enjoy the light of the sun. The Douglas Commissioners are of the right class, freely selected as the people's choice, men of long standing and good report, distinguished alike for prudence and thought. Douglas Town is improving fast. They long looked for town's bill is passed at last. The reign of darkness and filth is o'er, and light and cleanliness come to our door. The Douglas packets unrivalled are for strength and safety and good fare. The captains too are men well known for boldly facing wind and storm. The Douglas bathing unequalled stands for waters clear and firm, good sands. The vans are roomy, clean and strong, and used by old as well as young. The Douglas Herald gives the news, whilst the sun sheds forth its brightest hues. The circulars too are read by all, and justly prized by great and small. Then visitors, you all should know, to the Wellington Market you should go, for there it is you will find merchandise of every kind. Douglas men should all unite and make this object their pursuit, to clear the town of what is wrong, and join in one victorious song. All that to advertise Wellington Market, it seems. NB, it says underneath. It is now an acknowledged fact, both by residents and visitors, that the Wellington Market is by far the largest and cheapest depot for general goods either on or off the island. G. Collins, proprietor, August 23rd, 1860. A marketing man, to be sure. Whether you'd get away with that these days, I don't know. He's put a lot of thought into it, although probably not going to make his living as a poet. We'll leave it there. We go to the Mona's Herald, Saturday, September the 2nd, 1871. The clown cricketers are coming. This is more like it. After hearing about the clergy playing the police at football before Christmas, now clown cricketers. A grand cricket match between the 14 clown cricketers of London in their grotesque costumes against 11 gentlemen of Douglas and neighbourhood will take place in the nunnery grounds by kind permission of Major Torben on Friday and Saturday, September the 1st and 2nd. Wickets pitched at 12 noon, stumps to be drawn at 5 p.m. Admission to the grounds, sixpence each, the grandstand a shilling. An evening performance will take place in a large marquee in the grounds lately occupied by the Circus, Hill Street, when the clowns will perform gymnastics. The clowns will sing comic songs, the clowns will dance, comic dances, etc., etc. Doors open at 7, performance to commence at 7:30. Admission, front seats 2 shillings. Sounds quite expensive, doesn't it? Second seats 1 shilling, back seats sixpence. Tickets to admit to cricket match, grandstand and reserved seats in evening performance, 2 and 6 each, to be had at the principal shops in town. An efficient band will be in attendance at both events. That's what you need for these events, an efficient band, whatever that means. In the Mona's Herald, Wednesday, June the 9th, 1880, we hear of Charlie Keith, the roving English clown. The following flattering press notice of Charlie Keith, who will open his famed circus in this town on the 15th inst., will be read with great interest. It is seldom the professional life of a public performer contains so much interest for adventure and romance as that of Charlie Keith, the popular roving English clown. Most people imagine all clowns are bred or born in the profession, but it is not so. You can teach gymnastics, equestrian feats, etc., but clowning cannot be taught. The inward talent must be in the man. Keith had no idea of being a clown. Descended from the famous Earl Keiths of Scotland and born a citizen and freeman of London, he left his home to lead a wandering life in the days that a man of energy, if he wishes to be a performer, must exhibit his skill, at first on village greens and marketplaces in the provinces, the London music halls that have so swelled the bulk of artists not then existing. For 15 years he has been a clown, performing during that time in all the principal circuses, theatres and palaces of amusement in every city of note in the civilized world. For 2 years was connected with the principal American circuses. Keith has been patronized by royalty in every nation. At St. Petersburg and Moscow he appeared several times by command before the royal family, and at the palaces of Nizhny Novgorod was petted and highly praised by the emperor. In 1864, after appearing at St. Cloud, he was invited to dine with the Emperor Napoleon III and the young Prince Imperial, from whom he received a handsome diamond ring and the title of Clown to the Prince Imperial of France. It's pretty grand stuff, isn't it? In Spain, he was the greatest favourite as clown that ever appeared there, and was so popular that the special correspondent of the Times, June the 17th, 1870, says, "More notice is taken of the clever English clown Charlie Keith than all the regents, ambassadors, and would-be kings, being recalled there nightly 8 or 10 times. He has received so many bouquets and cigars, he has often taken a sackful out of the ring. Alone in Spain he gave a performance in the largest arena in the world, the Bull Ring or Plaza de Toros at Valencia. Being of a wandering disposition, he for some time travelled in Africa and Morocco, appeared before the Emperor of Morocco, his suite and the royal chiefs, and was called the roving English clown. In the Canary Islands he was known as the funny Englishman, having performed in parts no other English artiste had ever ventured to, and in his own country he performed in one city alone, Manchester, 1,000 nights, receiving on the occasion a handsome gold medal." Well, quite a clown, it has to be said, and quite a life. Sadder news in the Examiner, Saturday, January the 21st, 1911, the death of Tony Felix, the clown who appeared before royalty. The death is announced as the Daily News of Mr. Thomas Green, better known up and down the country as Tony Felix, the famous clown and circus proprietor, the latterly licensee of a Birkenhead hotel. A Birmingham boy and the son of a foreman brass worker, he had a remarkably varied and successful career. Besides appearing before royalty on several occasions, he once induced Mr. Hall Caine to kick off at a football match between 11 clowns and a local team at Peel, Isle of Man. During the run of one of his circuses in Corporation Street, Birmingham, he had a song, "When Birmingham's a Seaport Town," which has a topical application in these days of canalisation. That's a good word, isn't it? Canalisation, that they make things run on canals. Mr. Green for some time carried on the Junction Hotel at St. John's, and he subsequently conducted the Crown Inn at Peel. For several summers he was a clown at the Parade Street Douglas Circus. Mr. Green was in the prime of his life. That's rather sad, isn't it? But still, he went out at the top, as they say. The Ramsey Courier, Friday, December the 13th, 1929. "Laugh, clown, laugh." Intimate glimpses of life behind the scenes of theatre are blended into vivid and gripping drama in Lon Chaney's latest screen sensation, Laugh, Clown, Laugh, at the New Cinema House this weekend. Chaney, as the clown making his great sacrifice for the happiness of a woman he loves, has a role which runs the entire gamut of acting. In the theatre scenes, he is a comedian with grotesque antics, aerobatic tricks and infectious laughs. Then in the dramatic scenes behind the curtain, he plumbs the depths of human misery. My word, I'll have to go and see that one. Ramsey Courier, Friday, March the 22nd, 1935, The Circus Clown. A comedy featuring Joe E. Brown will be shown tonight, Friday and Saturday, at the Cinema House. Joe E. Brown plays a dual role of father and son and proves himself to be as good a clown as he is a character actor. Oh, he should have been on with Lon Chaney, shouldn't he? I have to read the next bit, if only for the name. Happy Howard is a simple youth. Well, I was. With sawdust in his blood, don't know about that, is forbidden to enter a circus by his father, a disillusioned one-time owner. Temptation, however, proves too much for Happy, and he runs away and joins a travelling circus as a props boy. After many misadventures, he ultimately makes good as an acrobat and earns his father's pride and forgiveness and wins a bride. Oh, I should have tried that. The Examiner, Friday, July the 29th, 1949. Now, Freddie the Clown, a return visit to the palace. Freddie, the sophisticated musical clown who was so popular when he spent the season in our midst last year, returned to the Palace Coliseum on Sunday evening, and with the assistance of Paul King, he regaled the holiday audience with a variety of items from his repertoire. But eventually they did manage to give a fine rendering of the Indian love call from Rosemarie, and those who remember his brilliant brand of comedy will realise how uproarious was the path they trod before Mr. King got Freddie where he wanted him. Accompanied by Jenny Simpson, William Herbert and a young Australian tenor, scored several successes with his songs in contrasting style, and an enjoyable programme was rounded off by several excellent items by Joe Kirkham and his augmented orchestra. I wondered who augmented it. And finally, 1959 in the Daily Times, Monday, August 24th. Did you know, it asks, that every clown has his own particular face? I did actually know this. No matter how many circuses you visit in any part of the world, Leaguers, you will never see two clowns whose faces are made up in exactly the same way. I think it's from the children's page, this piece. The reason for this is that every clown must have different makeup. As a clown joins the profession, he must send to an international organisation a copy of the makeup, red nose, white cheeks, black eyebrows and so on, which he has chosen. At the organisation's headquarters, it is checked to ensure that his face is not already being used by another clown anywhere in the world. If it is, he must change it. If, however, it is quite distinctive, then it is filed away among the thousands and thousands of other clowns' faces. And I believe they are still in existence, painted on eggshells and stored somewhere in Paris. If you know better, let me know. Howard Kane at maxradio.com. I'd love to go and see them sometime. What a thought. Well, there are some clowns on the Isle of Man, there's no doubt about that. You can choose which ones they are, of course. It's all old news, whichever way you look at it. Until next week, cheerio.
You're gonna be yesterday's news.